This over here is a PC build that is completed in terms of the hardware. All the bits have been put together, but often what you don't see in YouTube videos is what happens afterwards. Like, how do they install the Windows? How do they configure the BIOS? How do they update the BIOS? What else is there to do? Drivers? How do they set the PC up? So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I do after the PC has been built. So if you're a creator looking to build a PC, this is what you have to do after all the parts have come together. Now, I have done this also for the AMD system, but in this system we're running the 12900K, and it's like the new Intel system, and we're gonna be installing Windows 11. But if you wanna check out the AMD version, for example, if you wanna build any of the like AMD builds that I have done on my channel, then I'm gonna link this video up there where I'm gonna go through all the AMD parts, because it's slightly different between Intel and AMD. And if you wanna go Windows 10, then that's probably a better video, but in this video we're going to be looking at the Windows 11.
Licensing Windows has never been easier and cheaper. Go to whokeys.com, search for Windows 10 Pro license, or click on the link in the video description below. Purchase the license and use the code TN20 to get a 20% discount. Paste the key into the activation settings and you're all done. By the way, this license also works for Windows 11 when upgraded from licensed Windows 10. Check out whokeys.com in the video description below.
I just thought I'm gonna wear this hoodie as well, because Intel sent this hoodie. It's actually a really nice hoodie. The alarming thing is that it's size L, and I've always been M, so I'm not sure if it's the working from home or the sizes have shrunk. If you've seen the previous video how we built this, we actually got this to post. We didn't actually see the screen, so we're gonna replicate this now. So what do you plug in? Obviously the power cable, make sure that your power switch is on. You need a keyboard, plug the keyboard in over there. You need a mouse, so plug the mouse in. You also need the display cable, or HDMI cable, display port cable. Connect this into the graphics card. Now, because this Intel chip has an iGPU, we could connect it into here as well, but unless you have any errors, I would rather start from the actual graphics card, because then it's a little bit of an easier process that way. So that's in, that's in. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is plugging in the Windows install USB. If you don't know how to make this, I'm going to leave another video up there where I've already made a quick explanation video how to make this for Windows 10. It's exactly the same way you're going to make this for Windows 11, depending which OS you want to install. But this, you basically plug into any of the ports on the back of the motherboard. It should work with all of the USB ports, but if there is a port for BIOS in the back of the motherboard, I usually default to actually just plug it in over there, just in case it doesn't recognize it in any of the other ports, but actually it has worked with me on any of the other ports as well. Once everything has plugged in, we're going to press the power button and it starts to turn on. Your fans might go dead loud at first. It's completely fine, because it just, you know, puts them at 100% and then comes back. But at the moment, there's different lights on the motherboard over there. You can see a yellow little LED over there. That means that it's draining the DDR5 memory over there. But as soon as you see a white LED over there, and then it moves to green LED, I recommend you start hitting delete button. Okay, white, we are on VGA, checking the graphics card, and hitting delete button. Okay, did you see that? We have a post, first of all. Asus ProArt Z690 motherboard, all these things. It says press F1 to run setup, and that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. And it takes us to the BIOS. So in here, you can actually check that all the hardware is actually in there, and you can see if everything is working. So on the DRAM status, we can see that all the DRAM or DIMM slots have been occupied with the Kingston memory. It's running at 4800 megahertz. This is the XMBP profile. We have all these different fan modes over here, CPU fan, AIO pump, all of these things, they're going round. What I recommend you to do is go on this side. This is the boot priority, okay? Because I already accidentally have Windows on this drive, because we use the same drives on the X5 ProArt build, but that we did on the channel, if you haven't seen that one. It's the ultimate creator PC, but AMD version, but this Intel one is better in quite a lot of other ways. But at the moment, it's gonna load Windows on the drive there first, and then our USB stick, as you can see, is partition 1, is the second one. We're gonna drag this above it, and that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna press save and exit over here, or press F10. This is exactly the same. So as you can see, all of the settings go back to normal, and then we're gonna press OK. It shut itself down. It's completely normal because we like kind of reset the BIOS settings, so it has to train itself again. Just let it do its thing until you actually see a post. It might take a long time. Okay, we have a post over here. Don't do anything. It's gonna load into the Windows install settings. Boom. See those circles over there? That means Windows installation starts. I forgot to mention, if you have an Ethernet cable, or you can do it over Wi-Fi as well, plug this one in because this will come helpful over here. So, depends where you are. Just choose the language, press next, install now. If you have a key for Windows 11, put it in now. I prefer to do it always later. It's just gonna be easier, so just press I don't have a product key. We're gonna choose Windows 11 Pro, accept, next, custom install, always put custom over here. Now you can see all these different drives inside our system. So this first drive over here is our Kingston SSD in the back over there. There's already one little partition over there. We're gonna leave that to be. If you have clean drives, then you should only see like one partition per drive, so that's gonna be fine. In our case, if you do the same, you may be using some of your old SSDs or drives. Know which drive is which, okay? And I know that the drive one over here for us is the one that's gonna be our OS drive that's installed on the top slot over there. That's the Cardia C440. So what I'm going to do here is all the drive ones, I'm just going to press delete. It's just going to delete all those partitions. We're going to just delete this one and partition one over here as well. Delete until you see, boom, look at this. Drive one, unallocated space. We're going to leave the drive 2 and drive 3. Those are our FireCuda drives, and the first 0 drive is the SATA drive that goes our other drive. Because they're already set up, I don't need to format them, but I want to select this drive 1 for our OS drive. If you have the same configuration as me on your system, choose that one, and we're going to press next and let Windows do its thing. Now, a few more things to do. I'm here in the UK. Choose your keyboard, second layout, skip. Okay, let's name your device. So this is what other people would see in the like network over there. We're gonna put this at Z690 ProArt. Can't have spaces. Okay, how would you like to set up this device? I would set up for personal use. This is, let's add Microsoft account. If you have it, then put it in. If you don't have it, but it seems like you can't log in without the Microsoft account, you actually can if you put sign in options and type in offline account. Skip for now. So this is the name of the PC. We're gonna call this Z690 ProArt. Select the password. Security questions, depends, you know, what you want. I just want to get through real fast. Let Microsoft and apps use your location. Nope. Find my device? Nope. Required only? Nope. 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 And as you can see, we are now on Windows 11. What you can do now is pull out your USB stick with the Windows key. Before we're going to start installing anything over here, just to make this process easier, this is what we're going to be doing. Would you like to download Armory Crate? Yes, we're going to just press OK over there while it's installing over that. Click Windows key and go for PIN. Set up a sign-on in PIN because that's going to make your life so much easier. Windows Hello PIN. And then set up a PIN over there. We're gonna put in a password, which is 4 zeros in here. A new PIN over here, we'll just put this. Okay, that's gonna make our lives much easier. While it's downloading this, what I recommend you do is type in updates. Check for updates, because most likely there's gonna be some updates over there. Update base for this, download and install. This process does take a little bit of time, so if you have something else to do, like do your emails or something, you can do it whilst it's installing this, or do a little bit of work. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Okay, Armory Crate here has been installed. We're just gonna press agree, accept, blah, 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 and never show this again. and we're going to press cancel. You can log in and stuff if you want to. Here you can see different things. The most useful thing about this Armory crate is this tools bit. If you click over there, you can see all these drivers here. In a moment it's going to load all. Boom, can you see all these drivers that we need to install? So this is going to make your life so much easier rather than going online and, you know, installing them separately. This is the best way to do this over here. We're not going to do this in a moment because that's going to take a long time. If you want to, you can do this straight away, but what I want to do is configure the fan curves first because they're doing my head in. It's very loud, so we're going to do that first. So we're just going to close this for a moment. Okay, we're just going to press restart because look, the Windows update needs a restart, so we're going to restart that. When you see post, press the delete key because we're going to go into the BIOS. Okay, also what I can see is that our BIOS is not the latest version over here. So when we go into now to the Windows again, we're gonna download the latest BIOS and then update our BIOS as well, because this is a new system, new platform, especially for you. Whenever you're watching this, your motherboard might come like with very early BIOS settings. So you wanna update that to get the best stability in your system. Get an empty USB drive over there, plug it in the back over there. As you can see, we have our USB drive over there. Then we're gonna go to Asus Z690 ProArt Wi-Fi. This board over here. We're gonna go on to the support tab of this one. Driver and utility, BIOS and firmware. As you can see, this is 803 and we had 801. Download, find it in the folder, press extract all, BIOS renamer, go on. That's if you want to update it straight from the USB stick and without the CPU. But what we're gonna do is you can rename it or you don't have to. If you go straight to the BIOS, you don't have to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this one into the USB drive. That's the cap file over there. And as soon as you see the green light up on the motherboard in terms of boot, start hitting the delete button because we need to get into the BIOS. Green light. Boom, we are in BIOS. So we're gonna go to the advanced mode. We're gonna go into tool and this Asus EC Flash 3 utility. Over here, you can see all these like drives that you have over here, but we're gonna go to here. That's like the 15 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte USB stick that we have over here. And we have this paz.cap file over there. And we're gonna click yes. Do you want to read this file? And yes. Do you want to update? As you can see, it shows you that this version is 803 and ours is 0801. So it is a newer version and we're gonna click continue and let it do its thing. Here we are back in the BIOS and let's have a look. We are version 0803. So while we're on the BIOS, let's do everything in the BIOS configuration first. F7 first, because we're gonna go to advanced mode. And then you go onto this advanced tab and system agent. And underneath here, we have graphics configuration. As you can see, this primary display is auto. By iGPU multi-monitor, we're gonna press this enable. What this basically does is this iGPU inside your CPU is gonna basically now be on and the system can utilize it. So we're gonna press this enable because we want this one on. On the AI tweaker over here, we're gonna press XMP1. And for the DDR5 settings, put 4800 and CL38 if you're using exactly the same configuration. If you're using maybe something from Corsair or G-Skill or Team Group, they might work straight away with the highest XMP settings, but because I mentioned on the previous video, with this configuration, basically because it's a new platform, these 4 RAM sticks over there don't work at 5200 megahertz when there's 4 sticks enabled. If you just have 2, which means, you know, you have 32 gigabytes, then you can run them at 5200 megahertz, there's no problem. But 4 sticks, they don't quite work so well. The system is unstable, it's gonna crash. So what you have to do is put them on 4800. Next off, press F7 again to go into the simple menu over here. And then we're gonna go into this Q fan control over here. So first of all, we have the CPU fan, and this is where our AIO has been plugged in. Okay, as you can see, the AIO pump header over there, this is where it runs just 100% all the time, but we don't want this to really happen. So that's why I plugged in our pump into the CPU fan header, because now we can actually change, you know, how it turns and so on. So we're going to put this to PWM mode because we have, you know, it is PWM. We're going to press manual over here as well, and we're just going to configure. Once we hit 70 degrees, we want the pump to be 100%. But what I want it to be is I want the pump to constantly run like 50% of the speed, because the pump is going to be very quiet. You can't really hear it, but because it puts so much water around, our fans might not even have to turn up. So we're going to leave this one over here, and let's say it is on at 50% all the way till it hits like 58 degrees. Then we're going to put this to 100% at 75 degrees. Okay. And then at about 70% when it's 70 degrees. It just means that our system's going to be a little bit quieter. Okay, so this has been applied now. Let's see. Okay, boom. Make sure you apply as well. So we have chassis fans 3 and 4 plugged in on the bottom over there. So we're going to go to manual. All of our headers are PWM, so we're going to put this there. And then I want to put this to 0 because I want to know which fan is this. Chassis fan number 4, if you press apply, it applies to the front fans. So I know that this is our front fans over there. And then I'm going to put chassis fans number 1 over there. We're going to press manual, fan stop over there, because this chassis fan number 1 is the header over there, I think. Okay, here's a good discovery. The 2 top fans over here that we plugged into the CPU optional on the top over there, we're gonna have to move them on the bottom over there because there is no control for the CPU optional. So it's basically the same fan speed as the CPU fan. Because our pump is into that, we don't want the top fans to actually act exactly the same as the pump. So we're gonna move those top fans. I'm just gonna unplug them at the moment. Okay, we're gonna have to move this on the bottom header over there. But first of all, we want to make sure that our CPU fan, which was the chassis fan number 4, will be you know, properly configured over here. So we're gonna press this as PW fan over here. And we're gonna put these to run at, let's say 40%. Let's see. How does 40% sound? Okay, so now when I've moved it around and pressed apply, I can see like what it sounds like at different speeds. So around 70%, it's quite audible over there because they're moving quite a lot of air like around because they're very fast speed fans. So what I recommend you to do is put them at about the normal speed, roughly around, let's say 48. Okay, 48 is still quite audible. Let's put 44. By the way, when you do this, it's best if you do it with the panel on, because then we can get a proper actual feel what the noise is like. So let's move this to 50%. It's a little bit audible. I'm gonna put this at 41%. Okay, 41% sounds pretty good, all the way to around like 70 degrees, okay? And then when you start hitting 70 degrees, we're gonna start to move our way up slightly to 55 when it's 80, and slowly from 80 degrees to 100%. So we're just gonna press apply. So basically now what this will do is it's gonna keep the CPU intake fan all at the same speed at 41%, which is still quite a lot of air. It's gonna push inside the system, gonna push it in, push it in, push it in. And then when it hits 70 degrees, it slowly starts to move the fan speeds up all the way till we hit 80 degrees, and then our fan speed is gonna be 55%. I've realized that actually this has bit me in the bum a little bit. If you want to switch those fan speeds into advanced, or let's say lower, hybrid, then it's going to be like 1200 speed, and you have much more room to make it a bit more smoother, and every notch moves the fan speed much less than now over here. Every little bit moves it a lot. So you could probably fine tune it even more if you put it there. But the benefit of doing this in the performance mode is, let's say if you want to, and you do a lot of rendering or something, you can set it that it's going to go like 100% of the fan speed when we hit like 88 or 90 degrees or something like that, if you wanted to. Now, I don't really want that because I think it's enough of a fan speed, it's enough of a airflow to go through to keep this cool down. I'd rather move the AIO pump or the pump fan to go around to do these things. So I think that's going to be fine. So PWM mode, so the intake fans have been applied. Now, we're gonna go to chassis 3, which is this back fan over here, I believe. Let's turn it up so then we can see. Yes, as you can see, this is the back fan. Oh yeah, it moves a lot of air out. It's very, very quiet fan, this. So at about 50%, I'm gonna leave it to be 50% all the way till we are 60% over here. Then I just wanna see what it sounds like when it's, let's say, 63%. It's still very good. Let's see, 75% speed. Okay, it makes a little bit of noise now. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it to 53%. Let's put it 50%. So 78% is gonna be the maximum. I'm gonna cap it up. I'm not gonna let it go to 100%. But when it hits 75 degrees, we're gonna slowly start going up 67% and so on. So it just slowly goes up like that. I think that is pretty good. So now it's gonna move quite a lot of air, but yet it is very, very, very quiet. Now there is the top 2 fans to move on the bottom. So let me move this on the bottom and then we're gonna do the top fans as well. Those top 2 fans are plugged into chassis fan number 5. And as you can hear, they're going quite mental. So we're gonna go to chassis fan number 5. We're gonna go PWM mode, manual. I'm gonna let those be at 36% pretty much at all the time. I'm maybe moving them up to 59% slowly, like that. Because I want them to be dead quiet and just move the air out. This is all set now. Let's double check. CPU, which is gonna be that one over there. So this is all good. Okay, press exit. And this is now all the BIOS configured now. We're gonna see if this is actually gonna work later, but we're gonna press save and exit. So press OK. Did I show you that like all these panels have like dampening on it as well? So you can have extra silent, operation. So there's some kind of sound dampening panel on this side and it's all like, kind of sealed off. So your PC will be quite quiet. So that's why it's like a quiet and performance case at the same time. So you can choose which one you want basically. As you can see, while it's like booting the BIOS up, it was quite loud with the fans, but now the fans have cooled down. So you can hardly hear this PC. And we have some more Windows updates. Okay, now the Windows login. Remember, now we have a pin, so put your pin in. It's gonna work much faster. So first things first, let's go and keep the updates of the Windows updates going because that can run in the background. Just press download now and it's gonna start downloading all the Windows updates. Because we have the Armory Crate installed, we're gonna go to Armory Crate over there and let's configure the RGB of all of these 3 things before we're gonna install all those drivers because that's gonna take a long time. So you go over here, devices, no, Aura Sync, this little triangle over here. We're gonna select all and we're gonna go Aura Effects, okay? So as you can see, it's like going around little Aura different effects, but what we want this to be is we want it to be static color, okay? We can have it red, but we want it to be kind of like a orangey yellow. Ooh, I like that. Look at that. This type of orangey yellow that like fits with the color theme of everything over here, especially on this angle. I can see that, look at this. This is beautiful over there. I think we're gonna leave it like that because look, this there is orangey as well. So there we go. RGB has been configured. You can get other effects there as well, like done, depends what you want. You can go proper mental if you want like Starry Night. I don't know what's going on over here. Some kind of red. We can put breathing. Let's put it to orange like us if you wanted to move and do breathing. But I just like it static, like that's it. It's gonna stay there. That's what I want it to be. While we're here on the Armory Crate, let's go to this little spanner over here and then install the drivers. Make sure that everything has been selected and we're gonna press download and install. So this is gonna take a long time here as well, installing all those drivers and so on. But what we want to do is go and do other things on the Windows while this is doing this. So I want to get rid of the Microsoft Store over here. So we have to open Edge and I want to download Chrome because I think it's just better. You can use Edge if you are, new to all the PC thing, but most likely you're going to be using some other software. I use Chrome all the time, so it's awesome to have Chrome because it syncs all the passwords and things between setups. So I'm just going to press X. I'm going to go to google.com. Yeah, I agree. And we're going to say download Chrome. So when you have Chrome installed over here, obviously you want to pin it to the taskbar over here and put it somewhere over here, unpin Edge. But the annoying thing is Chrome is not going to be your default browser. So what you have to do is go here, default apps. So we're going to go to this Google Chrome over here. But even though we installed Google Chrome, you can see that the HTML and HTML are all going to be opened by Microsoft Edge. So what we're going to click on here, switch anyway. Depends if you want PDFs still to be opened with Microsoft, you can. I'm just going to switch everything to Google over here. So that's the annoying thing about Windows 11. But at the same time, if you want this to be configured different way, I guess it's awesome. But I wish there was an option so you can basically select all and it's all going to be Google Chrome. So now Google Chrome is installed, which is very, very good. Let's check how the updates are going. Okay, as you can see, it's pending restart. So we're not going to do the restart at the moment. We're going to wait for those other drivers here to complete, and then we're going to do the restart altogether because this is going to require restart as well, and we don't want to start these again. So while this is like installing them, let's download our graphics card driver. So what you want to go for is download GeForce drivers. Download drivers over here, nvidia.com. So now you can select the exact GPU model and then get a driver just for this one. But if you want this to be automatically up to date, you have to install the GeForce Experience. Now the GeForce Experience is going to run in the background, and lately I've changed my opinion on whether I want this in the background or not. So recently I haven't been installing this. So we're going to go for the product type GeForce 30 series. We've got 3090, Windows 11, not game ready driver because obviously we are creators over here. Studio driver, English, India, no. English, UK, we're going to go for search. It's going to find the driver over here, as you can see. Boom. And we're going to download it. And boom, it's going to download this NVIDIA driver. Now, we're not going to install it yet. We're going to wait for other things to install first and then going to do that because this over here is actually going to install some kind of graphics driver as well. And I don't want them to like mix up anything. So we're going to download that driver. That's the latest driver. We're going to install it after we've restarted the system. What else we're going to like download is I highly recommend you get this software called Hardware Info 64 download. So I'm going to go free download, local US. Of course, the X has to be right in the corner over there. Okay, Hardware Info 714. I'm going to install that because that's going to just show us how our hardware is doing and how's it reacting to things and things like that. So we're going to install that. That's going to be very helpful to see if all of our fan configuration and all the like system temperatures are running at the same time. We're going to launch this. Might as well launch it. Let's keep an eye on how it's going. Before you like press run over here, just put sensors only because then it's just gonna read all the sensors. There's other things that it can do and stuff, but we only need sensors. Don't show this warning again, continue. And now we can see our CPU over here. Let's have a look. So we don't wanna see this, we don't wanna see that. We wanna see this system package over here. And this CPU package, that's the stuff that we want to see actually. As you can see, maximum it has reached over here while doing other things is 47C. So we're going to keep this going over there. CPU package over here as well. We can see how many watts we're pulling as well. Actually, this is probably better over here. We'll look at the CPU package over here. While we're here, another thing you want to download is download Cinebench R23. Now you used to be able to just get it from Microsoft Store, but for some reason you have to like log in or pay for it over there. So you don't really need this. Max.net Cinebench R23 off Redline install for macOS, for Windows, that's what we want. So we're going to download for this for Windows. Show this in the folder. We're going to extract all. Okay, we have a blue screen of death. That's a first. So we'll let this complete and see what happens. It could be because I did lots of things at the same time. I often do that because I'm a little bit impatient, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're back on Windows 11. So we're going to check for updates again. There we go. See, there's lots more updates over there. We're going to let it do all of this stuff. Let's see how the Armory crate did over there. How much stuff did we install over here? Look at that. Everything is installed. All these drivers have been installed, which is very, very good. It says Thunderbolt driver is installed, but often what I saw with this motherboard is that it might not work when you plug in a USB-C drive. Let's see if it works. I've got one USB-C drive over here. I'm going to plug it into one of those Thunderbolt ports in the back. Let's see if it comes up. It should be PD1000. And nope, it's not coming up. Yep. It's because we have to install something else over here as well. So we need a restart. So let's do that restart again. Okay, that update was fast. Let's go back to updates. Any more updates? Any more updates? Okay, seems like we have the latest update now. So we're back over here. Remember we downloaded the NVIDIA driver, so we can open the driver now and install the driver because we have the latest Windows and so on. We're gonna press not NVIDIA graphics driver and GeForce. You can get the GeForce, that will keep you up to date like automatically really, but I think you just if the driver works, just check manually like every few months or something like that and get the latest driver. Not much changes. Unless like your software gets updated all the time, then it might need a new driver or something like that. But at the moment, that's it. We're gonna go to costume. We're gonna get the physics, yep. HD audio driver, go on graphics driver as well. But we're also gonna perform a clean installation. While the graphics card driver is installing, it might go black and do some random stuff at some point. But what we wanna also download is the Creative Cloud if you're using Creative Cloud. And let's start installing our apps as well. While it's downloading this Creative Cloud, what we can do is we can see in Task Manager, double check that our RAM is running at the right speed over here. Yep, 4800 megahertz. We can see that the GPU here on the Intel has been installed and the NVIDIA driver as well. But the thing is, because the Thunderbolt is still not working, as you can see my USB device has been plugged in, but it can't really utilize it. What we need to do is Intel driver support and assistant. Where are we? This one over here. We're gonna need to download this because that is gonna help our like Intel stuff in there up to date with all the stuff, because we need drivers for basically like the Thunderbolt over there, for this chipset, for the Intel iGPU. So there's quite a few Intel things that need to be like up to date over there. So this is like a good thing over here to keep it up to date. Let's wait until this is installed over here and then we're gonna press restart. Creative Cloud is done, we're gonna press restart over here. Okay, we're back over here. Let's open the Intel driver and support assistant. It's gonna go into the browser over here and we can see that we have some actual drivers over here. So let's go download them all. As you can see, our Thunderbolt drives there started working as well, because this PD1000 is the actual drive that we have connected in there, which is great. So another thing now I want to do is test if the system is stable and how does it actually work in terms of all of this heating situations. So we're going to press run sensors only. We're going to go to Chrome because we need to download one more thing. Let's download FurMark over here. Let's install FurMark into our system. Okay, we're gonna launch FurMark as well. So we're gonna leave this FurMark on the bottom over there. We're gonna check our system over here. Remember we downloaded the Cinebench R23. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start this single CPU multi-core test. And I wanna open the hardware monitor. Okay, wait, we're gonna stop that because it started the 10-minute test, but we want a single test, okay? So let me see, how does the CPU work over there? Okay, what's going on over here? This is not properly reading from our system, the power draw, but would you look at that, how quiet this PC is. Okay, we got 26,108, which is not the fastest over here. I'm going to close the FurMark. Let's see if there's any other background tasks running. I'm going to close this Intel Support Assistant as well. And we're going to run it again. Let me see how's it going there over there then. Okay, we're pulling 224 watts from the socket. And we have actually tamed this CPU. It's hitting about 80 degrees maximum in there, but that is really it. Look, 26,366. which is absolutely fantastic, to be honest. I'm just going to run this again. I mean, this is 100% utilization and we're hitting 78C, 79C, something like that. Pulling 230 watts from the socket, 26,605 points. That's absolutely amazing. So if you want to check if your Cinebench score is actually okay online, what you can do now is just go on here, go Cinebench R23 scores, CPU Monkey website over here, and we're gonna go benchmarks, Cinebench R23 multi-core, and let's have a look. Where is our 12900K over here? 12900K, 27,198, which is well within like the margin of error, you know, chip, like it's the silicon lottery as well, depending which like chip you're going to be using and so on. But this is right up there, so nothing's going wrong with our chip. Now, another thing I want to test now is the firmware. Stress test on over here, as you can see. So we can see that our 456 watts pulled from the socket over here at the moment. Let's have a look. Look, we're pulling 350 watts over here. As you can see, the rest of the system is consuming 100 watts, but we can see how the GPU temperature is gaining. So we're going to see where it's going to land. But at the same time, while we're doing the GPU stress test, we're going to put on CPU burner as well. So now both of our system basically is running at 100% maximum speeds over here. And what we want to see is like, what are the temps going to be like, what we're going to be seeing. As you can see, our CPU, we're pulling 200 watts at the moment from the socket. 201 watts. Look at that. 661 watts pulled from the socket. But I want to see if we're able to maintain the temperatures of the CPU and GPU, and let's see where it's going to go and how it's going to climb. The GPU at the moment is 64 degrees, CPU 77 degrees. So let's see in a moment. So I've been running this test now for 8 minutes and 52 seconds. As you can see over here, I started it again while it was like already a few minutes in. So it's been running about this much. The GPU test actually just crashed, and so I started it again. That's why it's climbing again over there. But basically the GPU just maximum went to 71 degrees or something like that, which is pretty okay in there. The GPU hotspot was 81.2 degrees and the memory was 94 degrees, which is hot, but actually still well below the limits. The limit is 110 degrees or something like that. So we're like very, very much safe over there. In terms of the CPU, which has been running pretty much non-stop over here at the moment, we have max pulled 207 watts over here and it's gone 84C, which is, I think, completely fine, because no one would really utilize the CPU like that and GPU at the same time. If I stop the GPU like utilization, then obviously the inside of the case would cool down much more than right now. Obviously the GPU is 71 degrees or something like that at the moment, which means it's putting a lot of heat around the CPU, around all those components over there. Bear in mind, whoa, the glass is quite warm over here, which is, wow, it's like a hot stove over here. By the way, bear in mind, all of these panels are on at the moment. So let's say if we took the panel off on the top over here and we started exhausting from the top as well, let's see what these temperatures are going to be like now over here. And then let's take the front panel off over here as well. So let's see what the situation's going to be like now. As you can see, the GPU temperature is slowly dropping. 70.2. Look, at this point we pulled it down. Let's see what it's like in a few minutes. By the way, inside our room over here, this is showing 21.2 degrees. Now we can already see a difference, and it's only been running, what, like a minute or something like that. Obviously, the hotter the ambient temperature gets, the higher the temperatures are. But as you can see, like, we dropped it off somewhere around here and it's gone down right over there. Now it's 68.2. So this is definitely gone down a few degrees. The CPU was 84 and now the CPU is 80. So we're definitely cooler, 81. So we're definitely cooler than before. So basically the tip over here is when you're working on your PC, when you're, doing video photo editing, just keep those panels on. It's completely fine. When you start exporting or something like that, just pull the top cover off. That's going to add a lot because all the hot air can exhaust out. It's still going to pull pretty much the same amount of air in because those vents on the side are pretty big. I can actually feel it pull in the air, so I wouldn't worry about that too much, but this top cover definitely adds or pulls down a little bit, especially on the GPU side. So at this point, all of our drivers are up to date. We have all the chipset drivers, Bluetooth drivers, all the Intel iGPU drivers, graphics card drivers. Everything is up to date, as well as the BIOS is up to date. BIOS is configured. The PC is running very, very quiet. So I'm super happy about that. I mean, look at this. The idle consumption of this is lower than 100 watts. Look, 92, 93 watts. That is very, very good compared to all of this high-end hardware that we're running inside there. You could get it actually even further down if you want to put the fan curve even lower at the lower speeds, because obviously the lower the fans run, the less wattage they're going to be using. But I just left them quite high when they're on the verge of audible kind of noise, because then when they're staying at that point, then I'm getting the most performance out as long time as possible, basically. And then when we start reaching a bit higher temperatures, then we're gonna, have it a bit louder. But basically, I'm not hearing this big ramping up and ramping down, but I'm having the consistent kind of sound and performance of the CPU all throughout. Even if it's lower and, idling lower temperatures, I'm having a bit higher fan curves. So I think this is the best configuration to do. Let the fans idle, or the minimum speed is on the verge of the audible point, and then start ramping it up only when it reached higher than 75 or something like that, slowly, and there we go. So that's it. Likes if you enjoyed it, subs if you'd like to see more, and as always, I'll meet you in the comment section below. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.